Hello, everybody. Happy Friday afternoon. Hope yours is going well. And it's that time again. We are counting down the hours to the fourth and possibly penultimate game of the Washington Huskies 2020 campaign. The 3-0, now ranked Washington Huskies taking on the Stanford Cardinal in our fourth home game straight to start the season, which is well, you don't see that every day, but yeah, we played every game so far this year at home. We're going to play one game on the road, and then we'll see what happens with bowl games and such. But interesting schedule we got this year. So, Huskies are ranked. I talked about this a little bit last week when the initial top 25 came out. I said that I felt like the Huskies were on the verge of being ranked, and that must have been the case because we got ranked even though we didn't really play well against Utah, falling down 21 to nothing and then managing to scrap your way to a 24 to 21 victory. I'm not going to say the team played bad, but they definitely played bad in parts. So it was nice to see the team get ranked, but they can take away that status real quickly if we don't win, and quite possibly if we don't look good this weekend against Stanford. So first of all, before I talk about this game a little bit, I will be streaming the game tomorrow afternoon. It starts at 1 o'clock on Fox. I will be watching it on stream, so if you want to watch the game with me or if you just want to hang out and talk about stuff, you can do that. And yeah, we're going to have fun. We're going to do some play-by-play, and we're going to see how the Huskies can do and see if they can move to 4-0. Now, this game, they are favored heavily. The Huskies are favored. But even though the Huskies won last week against Utah, that game, in a way, did shake my confidence in this squad because we did so many things wrong in that first half. And even in the second half, some things persisted. We had turnovers. We couldn't stop the run. A QB making bad decisions. just really was a bit of a mess. And I'm grateful that we came out with a victory some way, somehow. But there were a lot of problems out there on the field against Utah. So even though we're heavily favored this week against a Stanford team that really isn't playing that well this season, there are some things that this Huskies team will need to do in order for me to have some restored confidence in them going into the big showdown against Oregon that may very well determine who gets to play in the Pac-12 championship and who gets a chance at a big-time bowl game. So anyway, that being said, this should be a win. If you look at Stanford so far this year, they played 3 games like we have. They got blown out by Oregon, and as we've seen, Oregon is not a great team this year. They're still a good team, but they are not a great team. They lost a close game to Colorado, and then they beat Cal in a game where Cal scored the game-tying touchdown were it not for a blocked extra point with less than a minute to go. So some funny stuff had to happen for them to pull out that dub. So this Stanford team, their offense, it's been pretty mediocre, especially their ground attack. Their ground attack is actually one of the worst in the nation, and their passing attack isn't exactly good enough to make up for that. They are slightly better than average in terms of their passing yards per game. Their rushing yards, however, are right near the bottom of the country, and their offense as a whole is not even top 100 in the nation right now. So this is not a very good offense, and it's especially a very bad rushing attack. So defensively right away, my thought is this: they can't really attack our weakness. Our weakness right now is our rushing attack. We cannot stop the run. But Stanford can't run the ball. So I think that kind of plays to our favor. I think that plays to our strength. This will hopefully be the kind of game where Stanford tries to use their passing attack, which has been okay so far this year. They've got a couple different QBs who have put in significant snaps for them, and they're not doing too badly, but by facing a team that mainly utilizes the passing game, you get to see the full might of guys like Eric Molden and ZTF. Those guys are the killers on defense. And in a game like this, they have a chance to do a lot of damage. And those guys have been doing damage in pretty much every game they played. But this game, we're really going to lean on them heavily, I think. And I think that's going to go our way. So if the defense gets run all over tomorrow afternoon against Stanford, we have a much bigger problem than even I thought. And I think we have a problem. So basically, yeah, Stanford, not much of a rushing attack. So this is a great opportunity for the rushing defense of the Huskies to get right. On offense, however, look, Stanford's defense is nothing special either. They've given up 35, 35, and 23 so far this season. It's not a very good defense. Doesn't rank very well compared to the rest of the country. They've given up 31 points a game if you take the average. So it's not a terrible defense, but not a good one either. And after what we saw from Dylan Morris last week, and after what we saw from the play calling last week, it's a good opportunity to kind of get right, because Utah, going into the Huskies game, really hadn't played that well on defense. In fact, the first half of the game last week for the Utes against Washington was probably their best defensive half of the year, by far. Not even close. That was the most competent they've looked on defense all year by a long shot. So I'm not sleeping on this Stanford defense, but what I will say is that, again, you have an opportunity to restore some confidence in both your passing attack and your play calling, because I don't doubt our rushing attack. I know it got stymied a lot against Utah. Some of that was just play calling, but the rushing attack was really not there for us against Utah. We kept trying to run it up the middle, and it just never seemed to work. And I want to see I want to see that start to work. I want to see us start to get positive yards and pick up chunk plays when we run the ball up the middle, because that's a big part of our identity, and the fact that we couldn't do that at all against Utah is a big, big warning flag for this team's future going into the Oregon game. However, I also want this play calling to show that they understand how to go away from what isn't working and focus on what is working. And if you're this Washington Huskies team and you go out there tomorrow and you still can't run the ball up the middle, and every run up the middle is getting stuck for a yard or less, you need to try to do something else. And that's something that took way too long to happen against Utah, and I hope to see it this week. And of course, after what Dylan Morris did last week with the many bad decisions and bad throws and turnovers that he had, I just need to see something better from him. And again, this is the tune-up game for Oregon. And Stanford's not a terrible team, but given how they played so far this year, this should be a tune-up game for the Oregon game. So my expectation is that we go in there and show that we have improved on the stuff that held us back last week against Utah. So basically, better play calling, better play from the quarterback, and the defense should have some things to their advantage in this matchup. So with that, I'm going to get out of here. Peace out. Bow down to Washington. Again, streaming the game tomorrow. Come out and we'll watch it together and we'll have some fun. But don't forget to come out to the stream tonight as well. We're going to be doing A Way Out and Among Us. And yeah, that's going to do it. Bow down to Washington.